No, that was a week picnic. Like Joe Block.
Good evening. We're going to begin. We're going to begin this evening with the Shalom Aleichem on page number 5. It's in the Seaboard and Prayer Book on page number 5. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom. We open our mouths and words come forth, and those words that go out to the world have the potential for bringing a touch of softness and caring, or leaving a mark, a wound, an injury. And so before we begin, we're going to share in just a moment a song, but I wanted to introduce to you a word that you should know. Most of us know the word Elohim, which means our God. It's a very famous word. It's found in all the brachos. Elohim means our God. Elohim means my God. And there are very few references in the prayer book where you have the phrasing, my God. The focus in Jewish life, Jewish community, is always on the group, the sense of identity. But Elohim is our plaintive call. Oh God, help me to watch over the words in my mouth. And as the words go forward, hold me still. So this piece comes to us from Craig Talman, and it's called Elohim, and it's Surah Shani Be'erah. Oh my God, help me guard my mouth, let my words come out in the right way. Elohim.
Elohai, 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 Nitzur leshoni meira, usvatai, 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 usvatai. Usvatai, usvatai, nida
page number 11. Page 11. Come then, let us bow and kneel. Let us bend our knees in the presence of Adonai, who formed us. On page 12. For Adonai is our God, and we are God's flock, sheep in God's caring hands. If only you would listen today to God's voice, and not become hard-hearted like the people at Merivah, like that time at Massah in the desert, when your ancestors tried me and tested me, though they had seen what I had wrought. For 40 years I was troubled by that generation, and I said, these are a people whose hearts have gone astray. They do not know my way. So in anger I swore they would not enter my rest. Arvim Shabbat Ufador V'Omar Toledohen V'Hem Le'Udrachai Asher Nishpati Gavi In Gavon El Nufati. On page 16. And I wish to focus on two stanzas this evening as we're entering Shabbat. And there are different psalms that you might say are step-by-step ascendancy upon a ladder. We reach L'Charodi in this psalm of Shabbat, after L'Charodi, and we're supposed to be in a zone of peace and calm and satisfaction. But we've all heard just recently of increasing threats against synagogues, the synagogue in Hoboken, the synagogue in Birmingham. And we have heard of terrible statements, voices of attack and of violence going out into the world directed against all manner of people, minorities. And I continue to struggle with how would it be that somebody would marshal energies of violence and hatred against other people for no reason. And I'm looking at this conclusion of this psalm here. It's two stanzas on the bottom of page number 16. Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the lives of the faithful, saving them from the hands of the sinful. Light is sown for the righteous, and joy for the upright. Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous people, and thank God as you pronounce the divine holy name. In the first stanza, so we read that those who love God hate evil. The defining feature within Judaism is that by attaching ourselves to a belief in God, we're automatically going to move away from a path of evil and of hatred. And the tragic irony is how many times do we see people advancing the cause of hatred in the name of God, a God, any God, and choose that name. But from the Psalms, which we take out of the Bible and put into the prayer book, we are taught, if you love God, O Jewish people, you're going to hate evil. And we say that every single Friday night being Shabbos, the time when we're supposed to be in a a mindset of peace and calm and friendship. If you claim to be people of God, O Jews, then you have to hate evil. And furthermore, light is sown for the righteous, which means that light is placed in the physical world all around us as a result of your and my presence and touch and activism in the world. Not that we're all necessarily putting on yarmulkes and saying all kinds of prayers, but by being good and caring and righteous people in the everyday life of Sunday through Saturday, light is put into the world and will remain in the world, which translates into you and I have a role to play to bring light and caring into our world. And that's how we prepare for moving towards L'Chalavim. Tonight, we have a new song. It's on the handout. It's entitled Rabbi Joe Black, and the name of the song is Blessing and Curse. We don't often use these words, blessing and curse, but they are found in certain parts of our tradition, specifically in the book of Deuteronomy, and I think this is a somewhat catchy melody, and he puts forth the message of when you and I are walking out into the land, how are you and I going to be leaving our touch, our energy, our activity in the world? Are we going to be bringing blessing or curse? And furthermore, by our touch, will we set in motion, like a domino effect, the behavior of other people? Will they be bringing blessing or curse into our world? It's within our capacity to bring more blessing and less curse into our world. This song by Rabbi Joe Black.
When you walk into the land, when you cross that sacred stream, be careful where you stand, at Ibar or at Brazil. When you come into the valley, bring your best, expect the worst. Listen for the tally. Is it blessing? Is it curse? Things are seldom the way they seem. Yesterday's promise is tomorrow's dream. Dreams become the glue that binds the universe. They can help us tell the difference between the blessing and the curse. When you plant your meager offering, when you sow your precious seed, as you gather up the blessing, luck and labor have decreed. You must ask yourself this question: are things better, are they worse? What is it that I gather? Is it blessing, is it curse? Things are seldom the way they seem. Yesterday's promise is tomorrow's dream. Dreams become the glue that binds the universe. They can help us tell the difference between the blessing and the curse. And the mountains scream their thunder, and the rivers greet the roar, and the foes can pull you under as the crowd screams out for more. Yes, the moon will get you thinking, and the sun can quench your thirst. Be careful what you're drinking. Is it blessing? Is it curse? walk into the land, when you cross that sacred stream, be careful where you stand, at a bar or at cuisine.
On page 19, in the upper left corner, you see a short stanza entitled Kruvim. English is cherubim, Hebrew is Kruvim. And when you hear the word Kruvim, cherubim, your thoughts might turn to the Aron, the original Aron, which was a chest, a box, and the Luchot, the stone plaques on which the great words were written, were housed in that box, the Aron. And the Kruvim described in the book of Exodus are, you might say, statues that are on the top of the Aron. And when you look very carefully at the certain phrasing in the book of Exodus, it's like chapter 32, 34 or so, you see the Kruvim in there described as facing each other. And look at this commentary. You might say it's a midrash. It's in the upper left corner on page 19. And again, the theme that I've chosen for just this moment of consideration is, how are we making a difference in our world or not? And how are those who are under our influence and our touch also making a difference or not? The upper left corner. When the people Israel would do the will of their Creator, the Kruvim would face one another. But when the people Israel would sin, they would turn away from each other. Understanding that when you and I sin and did that which is wrong, we actually alter the physical makeup of the Aron HaBrit, the Holy Ark itself. Our behavior will affect something that had been created by an artist to adorn the luchot, the plaques, the tablets. So our behavior has direct consequence on the physical makeup of the universe. And similarly, the touch that we have, that we can bring into the lives of others, will, as a domino effect, also bring physical consequence into the world. So we all have a choice to make. We bring the right touch, or not. Mizmor David, we're on page number 21. Mizmor David. Havul Adonai b'neirim, Havul Adonai kavod vos, Havul Adonai kavod shmo, Hishtachadu Adonai v'hamad kodesh, Kol Adonai al-hamayim, el akavod yirim, Adonai al-mayim rabim, Kol Adonai b'koach, Kol Adonai b'hadar, Kol Adonai shomer arazim, Vaishaver Adonai Tazeh Almanon, Vayakireh Kemoegel Levanon, V'Siryon Kemoven Re'emim, Kol Adonai Chotzeh Latesh, Kol Adonai Yachil Niba, Yachil Adonai Mibar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Yachol Ayalot, Vayecheso Ye'arot, Uvehechamot Kulo Omer, Kulo Omer Kavod, Adonai Lamahu Yashav, Vayeshev Adonai Melech Le'olam, Adonai Oz, Ve'amo Yitein, Adonai Yodorek et Amo Vashalom. It's this psalm which gives us that phrase that is inserted into many different contexts within all Jewish traditions. The last phrase, Adonai Oz La'amo Yitein, God will give strength to God's own people. Yevarech is like the word baruch, bless. God will bless God's own people with peace. This phrase, leaves this song, which is on Friday night, just before the Chadadi, and travels throughout the breadth and the depth of Jewish tradition. On page 23, the first three stanzas, page 25, the last three stanzas. Dodi means beloved one. Shabbat means my beloved. Where did Shabbat come from? According to Torah, Shabbat came from God, from the whole universe. But you could say that Shabbat has been given to each one of us privately. What does it mean that God gives you something that God cherishes? What a gift. What an honor that we are granted this pause of time and we can place ourselves side by side with God as we calm, slow, and ease ourselves within the pace of the week. So Dodi, beloved, and that's why I have this next line. It's on a song sheet, and it speaks of love multiplying. This is by Beth Schaefer. Beth Schaefer, Love Multiplies.
Abraham was a desperate man, longing for a son. To pass along the word of God was his destiny. Two were born and one was scorned, to the desert he would run. Two fathers of two nations from one family. You're okay in your father's eyes. Love doesn't divide. doesn't divide, love multiplies. Families fall and families rise. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. Love your God and you'll be wise. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. Little town's bound to grow, destined to be more. Every year another church will claim its place on the road. And each Sabbath day the folks would pray behind their bolted doors. And the air would fill with notes of hope, only who would know. You're okay in your neighbor's eyes. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. And you're okay in the stranger's eyes. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. Cities fall and cities rise. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. Love your God and you'll be wise. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. A mother holds her little girl who is the world to her, but she knows another baby will be coming soon. This one-on-one and love affair will have to end for sure. How could her full heart come up with any more room? You're okay in your daughter's eyes. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. You're okay in that baby's eyes. Love doesn't divide, no, no, no. Love multiplies. Keep on going and claim your prize. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. Love your God and you'll be wise. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies.
Page 28 in the English side. The second half of the psalm for Shabbat you can recite it Friday night and Saturday morning. Surely your enemies are nigh, surely your enemies will perish. All who commit evil will be scattered. As a wild bull raises up its horn, you raise my head high, anointed it with fresh oil. As my enemies gather against me, my gaze remains steady before my ears listen and hear. The righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They flourish in our God's courtyards. In old age, the righteous remain fruitful, the old remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming Adonai is upright, my rock, and there is no flaw. The book of Psalms has a very long view of life. These words first coming to us 3,000 years ago. The book of Psalms is confident. The book of Psalms knows that as my enemies gather against me, I am going to remain steady because I know that I belong to the universe. God placed me here and the universe is all around me, and I'm stable, I'm supported, I'm anchored, and threats are not going to dissuade me, or destabilize me, or shake me. And I know that I'm going to be here for a long time, and all those around me are going to be here for a long time, and we're going to be fruitful, which means that we will have lasting impact on the world in which we dwell. That's what enters Shabbat. The Baruch Hu to rise on page 39b. Baruch Hu et Adonai And we're seated. First name is Bacha on page number 39b near the bottom. Baruch Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, you completed your work of creation on the seventh day, calling this day from one evening to the next the holy Shabbat. You gave this day of rest and all its holiness to your people Israel, creator of day and night, willing light before darkness and darkness from light, making day pass and bringing on the evening, distinguishing day from night. Baruch is your name, living and ever-present God. May you rule with us forever and ever. Baruch Adonai, who brings each peace and justice. And Ochai v'kayam, ta'avim ochalenu l'aved. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. On page 40, the lower left corner, in the margin, to love the world. When we act with love, Franz Rosenzweig remarks, the neighbor represents all the world and thus distorts the eye's view. Prayer, however, pleads for enlightenment and thereby, without overlooking the neighbor, sees beyond the neighbor, sees the whole world. V'avatcha tasir mimenu olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Page 41. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Me'ato etano lecha b'chol lavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol nadecha v'ayu hadarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al lavecha v'shivata Moment of silence, page number 42. Then Moses, Miriam, and the people Israel joyfully sang to you. Moshe, Miriam, Bnei Yisrael, Lecha Anu Shira, V'Simcha Rabba. Who is like you, Adonai, among the mighty? Who is like you, adorned in holiness, revered in praise, working wonders? Mi Ahavas Chesed Adonai, Mi Kamocha Nedar HaKodesh, Noratilot Osefer. Your children recognized your sovereignty as you split the sea before Moses. This is my God, they responded and said, Adonai will reign forever and ever. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokeh yom lifnei Moshe, ze'eli anu yarom, Adonai imloch le'olam ha'ed. And so it is written, Adonai has rescued Jacob and redeemed him from the hand of those more powerful than he. Baruch Adonai redeemed the people of Israel. This is a song. Mi Chamocha is a song of celebration of we are no longer afraid. We're celebrating. And then we move forward a little bit more. For tonight, though, a little bit of melody. It's called a niggun. Niggun is a melody, just la la la, a niggun, just to sing along a little bit. On page 45 on the English side, very last stanza. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem. The top of page 46 is Shabbat. Page 46.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפל, שבת ויהי נפל. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
יתקדש שמנו רבו ובמנהייך ויום לכל וחייך בית ישראל וגלה ובזמן תאריך נגרו אמן. יהי שרבו מבורך לעולם יום לעולם יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא וירדוף ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקדשה ברכו לעילם כברכתה בשירתה תושבחתה ונפרתה דעמים עולמה ואמרו אמן. Pages 47 to 52, the CD before us is similar to that which we had used for a number of years, recently on high holidays. This came to us about 6-7 years ago. The monster of the high holidays came to us 2 or 3 years ago. And there's a great deal of commentary and poetry and some midrash. When we stand for the Sod Amida, it's an opportunity to echo the words of our ancestors. When we recite them, we say words that take us back literally millennia. But we also have an opportunity to sit, or to stand, or to pause, and to reflect, and devise our own prayer. In silence, but we're surrounded by others. That's the key to Jewish prayer. We don't pray alone. We stand in the community of others, even when we're praying silently and by ourselves. We're never alone. Prayer is intended to be a supportive endeavor. And your presence supports your neighbor as the other way. We rise to the sound of prayer, pages 47 through 52, or private prayer roll and devising. Yesterday was a good day for me. It was a busy day. I was invited into UMS Wright's high school to deliver a talk before the high school in the auditorium. And I already shared the thought with that in the evening email that went out earlier a little bit today. But after leaving UMS, we came back to Shul, and we welcomed for the first time in 3 years a group of students from McGill-Tulane Catholic High School. And prior to COVID, we used to have the opportunity of bringing a McGill class into the Shul, usually once a year. I developed a relationship with some of the teachers at McGill-Tulane, and often a theology or history teacher asks, may I bring a group of students? And I always say yes. And that had been sidelined for those 2 years of COVID, as we can all understand. And when I asked some of the students, have you ever been here before, And a few said, I remember I was here at a certain point in time, and you talked. And a few remember that they'd been here some years ago for a Holocaust film. And so for students to remember pre-COVID, which in their lives was a long time ago, is significant. And we began to ask questions of each other, and as typical, and as you would expect, they brought up questions about Jesus, and I answered them. And then one person asked a deep theological question. I didn't really have time to get into it, and I asked if he could go back to his school and speak to the priest there, because it really would make more sense for him to talk to his priest about that specific issue. I opened the Aron, and I explained what Torah was. And I'd already planned and set up 2 tables, one on each side of the back, and one up here, and I had 2 Torahs pre-stationed and 1 Torah here, and so we could do a round robin, and small clusters of students could go up and see a Torah. And they were told, you cannot touch the Torah for obvious reasons, but you can look at it. And they were intrigued by that. And then I handed out the Megillah, and as you know, the Megillah, the Scroll of Esther, is the only book in the Hebrew Bible that doesn't have God's name, and therefore we're a little bit more comfortable handling it as long as our fingertips don't get on the ink, for the same reason as we avoid touching the Torah, because the oils in our fingertips will corrode the ink. But I handed the parchments of the scrolls of Esther around, and each one felt it and saw it, and they were intrigued. And then I asked them, how old are you? 16, 15, what's a major life experience, a threshold experience in your life that indicates that you're getting older? Oh, we get a permit. Oh, we get to drive. And then from there, I went on and explained Bat Bar Mitzvah. And they were enthralled. You mean anybody can go up? I said, yes, anybody can come up. And we train our middle school students to come up and take over the service, and you don't need to be the rabbi to lead the service. And our middle school students can chant from the Torah and lead the prayers, and then they share a speech, which is their way of teaching the adults. And they couldn't believe that middle school students were placed in that position of, we would say, significance or maybe even authority. We take it for granted. And we should take for granted what we have within ourselves. We have a significant legacy. And maybe we've forgotten how important that legacy is. Because for us it's almost commonplace. But it shouldn't be. Think about the touch that middle school kids can and do have on the adult community, because we have handed down from generation to generation the opportunity and the responsibility of learning, studying, and teaching. That is our legacy of the present and to the future. Learning, studying, and teaching. We ennoble the spirit by expanding the mind. That's been on my mind, not only because it was a significant encounter yesterday, then we answered more questions and they departed, but also because of what's happening in this week's Torah reading. Because it's in this week's Torah reading that the first Jewish man ever is introduced to all of us. His name is Abram, later to become Abraham. And he has an encounter with God. And God says to this old man, Abram, who's married, no kids, someday you're going to be the ancestor of so many descendants that you wouldn't even be able to count them. They'd be as numerous as the stars in the heavens above. God says to Abram, go outside of your tent and look up. Can you count the stars? That's how numerous your children are going to be someday. And it takes 12 years for Ishmael to eventually be born. And then 13 years thereafter for eventually Isaac to be born. 2 children over a span of 25 years. And you and I can ask, What does it mean to be as numerous as the stars in the sky above? I showed our McGill-Tulin guests yesterday the windows, and you can't see them because it's dark now. But this is the beginning of our history. The stars in the heavens above. You could read that, you could view that window as symbolically in some way conveying the message of Bereshit, Genesis itself, creating the heavens. But I view it as God saying to Abraham, someday your descendants are going to be as numerous as the stars in the skies above. And you and I, fast forward 3,800 years after Abraham and Sarah, know that there are not that many Jews on the planet. We're not even 0.02%. 99.98% of the population of the world is not Jewish. We're 0.02%. Are we truly then as numerous as the stars in the sky? A few years ago, I came to a different understanding of what that means. I do not view it as a number. I view it as longevity. How long will a star give light in the heavens? Billions of years. We are going to be as numerous or as lengthy or as of longevity as the stars in the heavens above. And every time we look up, we know that the prior generation, the prior century, the prior millennium had Israelites, Hebrews, Jews looking up and knowing that we are as permanent as those stars themselves. For me, that's an understanding of a promise from God to Abram that I can understand. And it fills me with a sense of wonder, almost like the sense of wonder that 10th grade McGill-Tulin students had yesterday when they realized how significant a touch it is that our Jewish middle school kids can and do bring into our lives and fulfill that tradition that goes back to the time of Abram and Sarai. Anytime I conclude with a class, I always take them and I stand by the Holocaust memorial that we have in our foyer, which was first established in 1970 at the second building. And if you know the tradition, you know the experience that was initiated by Mr. and Mrs. Zaremba, bringing that Holocaust memorial into being. We Jews forget that there were a number of people working together as partners to fashion that Holocaust memorial. Abner Smiles, a shul member, lived in Pascagoula at the time, was a gifted craftsman. He was a volunteer, a member of the synagogue. Abner Smiles, Jewish man living in Pascagoula, came over repeatedly and helped to craft that. He worked under the guidance of a local Christian artist named John Shaw. Anytime somebody walks past that Holocaust memorial, he's going to see the handiwork of a Jewish man under the guidance of a Christian sculptor for the sake of bringing forth a message, a testimony that we matter, that hatred will leave one dark spot, but light and love and cooperation will bring light that chases away that darkness. And I said, just as we are like the stars in the sky, and we will always be here, so too look at the power of shared interaction of people of different backgrounds. And that is the light that we bring from heaven into our lives. May we realize the touch that we can have. And admittedly, these days, sometimes it seems that there's far too much darkness. Let us realize the touch that we have to bring support and light and caring and cooperation and collaboration into our world. And we'll be around as long as the stars burn in the heavens above. We rise now for the Elaine. The Elaine is on page number 56. And those inclined to remain standing for Kaddish are invited to do so. In a moment, Kaddish, NRCD on page number 58. And in this Shabbat, we remember with great love Marcus Klein, Harris Marshak, Rose Brodsky, Broom Fisher, Edith Wolf, Usher Olinsky, Anna Lappin, Terry Brodsky, Mill Davidson, Chester Resnick, Mary Weiss Vossner, Teresa Chasson, Morris Weber, Ella Saulowski, Rosabelle Dreyfus, Robert Voigt, Phil Einstein, Jackie Berman, Sam Muchnick, Roger Katz. Any other names to mention this evening? Perhaps those at home have a name to share.
Phyllis Franco.
Phyllis Franco. Kaddish is on page number 58. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shnei ra'v'orei v'choma tibarach chirutei v'yamlich machutei v'chaye echod v'yom echod v'chaye echod beit Yisrael v'agala v'zuman kariv v'imiru amen Yehei shnei ra'v'orach v'orach v'orei v'oraya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitrama v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'halal shmei v'kudashah v'richu le'era v'yikol v'yirchon Shirata, Tushdachata, Benechemata, Ta'amiran Ba'Allah, Ni'imaru, Amen. Yehi Shalama, Rama, Min Shemaya, V'chayim, Olein, Ya'kol Yisrael, V'imaru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, Nimramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Olein, Ya'kol Yisrael, V'imaru, Amen. And we say, Oseh Shalom, may there be peace. Traditionally, the one who is mourning is saying these words, may there be peace. So the person who is mourning is saying, I hope there's peace everywhere. What an insight that somebody in his or her own life, missing somebody he or she loves, perhaps through tears, is praying for world peace. To be able to shift focus or maintain two foci at the same time, one on the love that we're remembering, the love we lost, and also thinking about everybody else, that becomes formulaic within our tradition. What a message that is. We'll conclude in a minute with a new melody for Oseh Shalom. Just a couple quick reminders before Oseh Shalom. Tomorrow night, Havdalah on Zoom is at 7. As you know, tomorrow night we change the clock so you get to sleep an extra hour. Isn't that nice? Friday, November 11th is our Veterans Day service. It will be a special service Friday evening here, 6 to 7, with a little bit of nosh afterwards. And we ask all to come in person, to honor the veterans who have died and to show our gratitude or express our deep reverence to those who are still serving in the military. So that's Friday evening, November 11th, normal time 6 to 7 with a slight loaning afterwards. And Sunday, November 13th, this is the third or fourth year that we've been invited to a little gathering at the Temple Cemetery. It's Sunday the 13th. It will be at noon. A very brief service honoring veterans, and then an opportunity for us to place flags at veterans' graves, both in the Shul and Temple cemeteries. And that will be Sunday the 13th at noon. Last announcement, Friday, November 18th is Guitar Shabbat with Yehuda on the Bima and in Ogay. So we're looking forward to having people together again. Our greatest prayer, of course, is Shalom, and Oseh Shalom concludes this evening. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining us. be blessed. May know that you are loved and cared for deeply. I hope to see you in person soon. Until that point, Litra Ode.